So you wake up one morning and everyone you know is smoking a lot of weed. It's not just your kids, it's people your age, it's people older than you. States are legalizing it. Pretty soon the whole country will be smoking a lot more marijuana, and they tell you that's totally fine. But before that happens, it's worth asking the question, what are the effects of this? Do we know? One of the only people in the media who's thought about this and written carefully about it using actual data is Alex Berenson, a man you may recognize from his many appearances in this show talking about COVID. He's also the author of the book, Tell Your Children the Truth About Marijuana, Mental Illness, and Violence. He came on Tucker Carlson today, this afternoon. It's on foxnation.com right now. Here's part of that conversation. So probably the most memorable crime in the last decade took place, I believe, in 2012 in Miami. I think it was under a bridge, where a homeless guy grabbed a man and ate him, ate part of his face. He was a cannibal. He was famously, and so everyone reading this said, well, how the hell did that? I mean, that's so horrifying. We wanted to know the details, and we learned that this homeless man had been smoking something called bath salts, which most of us never heard of, that were a kind of crypto-legal compound sold at convenience stores. There was a whole series of stories about this. You tweeted something the other day that kind of shocked me. Not the first time you shocked me with your tweets. Here's what you wrote, quote, "Fun fact, the 2012 Miami bath salts attack was a cannabis-only case. If you say I'm wrong on this, I'm just going to block you. The facts are unequivocal, and I have no patience for people who won't accept reality anymore." This was a couple of days ago. What?
Yeah, no, I mean, look, they checked his blood. He didn't have any, and you can look for all these designer hallucinogens. He didn't have any of those. He had cannabis. High strength, high potency THC is plenty psychomimetic for most people. Okay, it is a dissociative drug, and it can cause paranoia, and it can lead you almost to a full-blown trip if you're using a lot of it regularly. Cannabis can cause a fair number of people, especially if you use heavily, to have short-term psychotic reactions, right? A bad trip.
But they're peaceful, though, because marijuana makes you peaceful.
Yeah,
it's the Mahatma Gandhi drug.
That's right. That's why violence has gone down so much in the United States in the last 5 years.
So you think that there is? I mean, I'm just being completely honest. I grew up in Southern California. I smoked marijuana as a child. Everyone I knew believed that it mellowed you out.
Right.
So you're saying there's evidence of the opposite?
Oh yeah, there's something called cannabinoid hyperemesis syndrome. Okay, what that basically means is uncontrolled vomiting as a result of THC use.
Yes, I've seen.
Now, cannabis is supposed to settle your stomach. If you're nauseated, smoke some, right? That was sort of one of the famous uses of it.
Of course.
For chemotherapy.
For chemo patients.
That's right. But it looks like there's this paradoxical effect if you use too much of it, that for whatever reason somehow resets the receptors in the brain for some people, and they have this just terrible uncontrolled vomiting that in some cases can actually kill. I'm not exaggerating, because you become so dehydrated it can kill you if you're not careful, if you don't get to an emergency room. So paradoxically, so in the short term, marijuana can reduce anxiety, certainly, and it can get you high. But like most anti-anxiety drugs, you can have bad rebound anxiety if you try to quit. I mean, that's true of benzodiazepines, because that's a known risk. Okay.
Yes.
Further, cannabis has this effect on people where it makes them paranoid. Some people, some of the time. Okay. And if you have this predisposition, or if you're sliding into mental illness and you start smoking a lot, you may sort of temporarily muffle that anxiety at the cost of your paranoid symptoms getting worse. And there's been a fair amount of research done into what causes people with severe mental illness to become violent, because this is something, again, this is why I'm an annoyance to the mental illness community, mental health professionals, because they hate talking about this even though they know it's true. Psychosis is a very severe risk for violence, possibly the most sort of severe single risk. Okay, people who are psychotic commit serious violent crime at rates, depending on the crime, anywhere from 2 to 20 times the average person. Okay, and the more severe the violence, the higher the differential. Okay, so when you look at what drives that risk, it's paranoia more than anything else, and that makes intuitive sense, right? If you feel someone is a threat to you,
yes,
they're controlling your mind, or they are the devil, or whatever it is, you will feel justified in lashing out at them.
Yes.
And so a drug that induces paranoia, while at the same time sort of muffling your symptoms visibly for a while, can make you very dangerous.
That conversation went on and went to very interesting places. Just came out today. How do you get it?